Welcome to All Nature Connected, a podcast created by the Forest Bathing Institute where we explore all nature connected topics, including nature and health, nature inspired lifestyle, nature connection and forest bathing, nature preservation, and eco awareness. We hope that this podcast will inspire you to become more connected with nature and your own health and well being. Hello, everyone. Today we have a special guest on our podcast, Jaume Mora Pedros. And Jaume Mora Pedros is an economist by background and Big Four data analytics director, focusing on bringing innovation and optimization to the market. Aside of his day-to-day job, Jaume has community engagement lead focus on building social impact for good through education, arts, hospitality, food, and cultural events. Jaume creates opportunities for personal awareness, expression, and development via his initiative Penya Vermut, a people's business to address social challenges and build sustainable prosperity with a hybrid model of digital platform and physical network to educate citizens by the pillars of collaboration, curiosity, and prosperity. Jaume is also passionate about building the right environment for female entrepreneurs via his involvement with Global Women Club and future director lead of Global Women Club South East London chapter. So I'm also actually a member of Global Women Club, so this is really great news for me as well. So hello, Jaume. It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. And today we would like to actually talk to you about the role of community and sustainability in emerging economy, if that's all right. So I have a few questions to you. So if you could please tell our listeners a bit about your background and why community and sustainability are important to you.
Yes, of course. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Olga, for having me. Is a pleasure. And as I mentioned before, I kind of follow your initiatives, and I think is a great job you all are doing there. Then, yeah. As you kind of mentioned briefly, I'm economist by background, and I've been working first in finance, then moving to data analytics, data strategist, and basically that's been kind of my job for the last 20 years. Then I got a lot of experience when it comes to economics, finance, and how the world kind of works. Then as I thought that, and as you also mentioned, I think community is very important. And let me kind of emphasize what we mean for community. Is actually a word that, even though there is a definition, a global definition of that, has a different meanings in different contexts. Then, when we talk about community, we talk about the invitation to bring people together and work out a system that works for the whole. We want to make sure that everyone in a local area is invited to conversation, make sure that everyone has a voice, make sure that everyone is heard as well. I think conversation is about deep listening as well, if not more important. Then we want to make sure that everyone feels respected, everyone feels part of the whole environment, and make sure that everyone can work together towards a common goal. That's our definition of community. Then community for us is very important based on that definition. We think by inviting everyone in a local area, we can achieve ambition goals. We believe that by getting together, we can actually address some of the current issues we have locally and globally. And part of that is sustainability, of course. sustainable development is very important, and in our kind of modern age, we want to make sure that we set up a model. We call it here new economic thinking. We set up a model where everyone is consulted, everyone is part of that, and we support local prospect development, prospect economic development for everyone around us. Then sustainability is very important in that regards, because allows us to maximize the resources, being aware of the resources we consume, being aware how that impacts to the social life and how it impacts to the environment, and how we actually also create that awareness about waste management. I personally believe there is a bit of kind of lack of understanding in the conventional model what happens after we consume something, and I think that's very important. And then we focus on that, bringing people together and set up that dialogue and debate to share knowledge. I think knowledge sharing is one of the kindest acts of love we can produce individually.
This is very exciting, and and I think this is really where way forward, because working with the communities is so important. We also try to work with the communities wherever we go, and also making sure that people are not left behind. Hence, we are working a lot with charities, working with vulnerable members of the community as well. So I know that you mentioned the new model, which sounds very exciting, and I would love to learn more about it at some point. But I wanted to focus on the things that you said about education, because education, I feel, is one of the things that I personally think is missing when it comes to sustainability and economic development. So can you say a bit more about the role in education, having the economist background? What's the role of educating people in creating healthy economic climate for the future?
Sure. Yeah, I do believe it's very important to invite everyone to the conversation. I think kind of spark curiosity, or keep curiosity alive is very important. We all have a lot of curiosity as a child, and then little by little we kind of get trapped by the day-to-day life, and somehow we forget that important part of ourselves. Then we make sure that we keep curiosity alive. We focus on holistic education that thrives. And what that means is we bring facts and information to the table, and we set up a debate and dialogue. I'm not a fan of imposing thinking. I think it's very important to set up an environment, safe environment, where people can reflect, can reimagine things, can define things from their own perspective, and how we actually share those thoughts and experiences and observations is very important. I think education is probably about those three things: knowledge, our own observations, and our own experiences. And by reconciling all that together and sharing that with our um, uh, citizens and our kind of community members, bring us this kind of sweet spot where we kind of find the courage to create new things. And that's the thing for us. Education is, I mean, to create or co-create, and make sure that we all are part of the same thing, and share that information together, and make sure that everyone understands each other. And I think, once again, emphasizing this, I think an important part of education is the deep listening element of that, how we actually make sure we put the effort to understand each other, and create that collective ambition to achieve what we think is needed for the near future.
I love it, absolutely love it, because I think what you said, collective ambition, and and your approach seems very dynamic in a way that you would be and proactive listening, as well as acting on your experience and learning from others. It's a very active approach rather than sitting down and providing some models which might already be out of date, as we know from economic background that often happens. A model that was probably working a year ago is no longer working. So thank you very much. That's very interesting. So for someone who is interested in helping their local communities, or even helping themselves through connecting with their local communities and sustainability also, what three top things can you recommend for these people, please?
Yeah, I think it's very important and to kind of set up what we call quick wins. And what I mean for that is, I think it's relevant to say good morning to your neighbors. It sounds a bit kind of a small thing, but how we actually talk to strangers is very important to break that ice and start connecting to people living next to us. I think that small thing is very important. Then another thing that I think is quite relevant is support local businesses. To have a dynamic community, we need to make sure we have local community life. And what that means is support local businesses, talk to your butchers, talk to your fishmongers, to the greengrocer, have that relationship that creates that intimate connection between everyone in the local area. I think that's very important. And the other thing is like that. Is like try to set up local events where everyone is welcome. Try to understand uh, somebody else's kind of thoughts from their own perspective. And I think by setting up those kind of organic, dynamic conversations, we learn a lot about everyone around us. And those three small things that everyone can apply straight away from now on make a massive difference. And of course, not everyone will be in a mood to talk to you, but it's kind of try and error. And I think I always tell my daughters as well, kind of smile to everyone, say good morning. Sometimes people will say nothing, but carry on, and then let's break that barrier of being isolated. It makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think saying hi is really the first step. It does seem like a small thing, but it's actually so important. If you don't say hi to your neighbors, you would never know who lives there. And I mean, we now live, we're lucky to live in the countryside, and we only have a handful of neighbors around us, but we know each other so well that we really have our mini economy where we know people, if we need one thing, we go to one neighbor. If we need another thing, we go to another neighbor. So it's beautiful that it creates this sense of community and belonging. And of course, we know that by swapping to the local economy, we can save fuel, for example, for traveling, and it's more sustainable. It's better for the planet. So there are so many benefits. But I love your very practical, simple steps, but I would not underestimate their importance in actually reaching the overall goal. So sometimes for me, the simplest steps are actually the most effective ones. So this is amazing. Thank you. And so finishing off our conversation, I know that you have wonderful projects coming up in Global Women Club, but also your own projects related to travel and opening up your center. So if you'd like to just talk a little bit more about what are your current and upcoming projects, and maybe where people can learn more about what you're doing.
Yeah, of course. I mean, actually, one of my key pillars is walk the walk. I think we've been talking. I mean, when I say we, means everyone involved, about how we actually have a sustainable development, how we actually set up an alternative way of living and all that. Then we basically setting up that, and our events are focused on that. Then the travel arrangements, for example, are very interesting because we basically go to our collective allotments. We kind of pick up the fruits there. We do the food school. We engage. We understand about the soil. We understand about the nutrition. We understand about and how to actually live a life without forever chemicals. Then that's very interesting. And also we combine that with arts. Then we give arts kind of a new kind of approach just to make it profitable as well. then we want to make sure that an artist can earn their own money and pay the bills and all that. Then we support that. Then our outings or weekends away are very good, and I invite everyone to have a look, and everyone is more than welcome. We basically replacing the concept of being a tourist to being a visitor, and our aim is to produce that feeling of when you go to a place you feel like a local person. And based on the feedback we got, we achieving that, then is beautiful when people come to a different place, engage with local people, and everyone involved, both the visitor or the host and the guest, they feel very much connected because they see that people respect each other. Then that's a very important thing. Then definitely the travel arrangements to our collective developments across the UK and Europe is very nice. Then, as you mentioned, we have our own venues. We have a family of peñas. Peñas means friendship, and in Catalan, then we have our family of venues where we organize wine tasting, we organize supper club, we organize concerts, we organize round tables. Then the one in Greenwich is very dynamic. Then if everyone is around, please pass by. And also we are now setting up a few more in the next month. Then hopefully we can invite people all across the UK and also continental Europe. And we are now holding conversations in North America. Then part of that is great because as part of that kind of Penya club, or being a member of the Penya, you can actually can go to British Columbia in Canada. There is a place there, and actually you can engage with local people there. Then we basically trying to facilitate that participation and feel welcome and being invited to any community and get that knowledge, share that knowledge, and learn by talking to people.
That's beautiful, because what you said about being a visitor rather than a tourist, I think that's so important, and taking this respect for the community out of your community to other communities, and respecting their traditions, their ways of being, and making sure that you don't leave, mess behind, or even like the way you travel, you don't disrupt the culture that's already there. I think that's so important and very refreshing. And I personally think that that is the way to travel going forwards in the future. If we create communities of people and then collaborating between our communities, that could be quite a massive change to how we live as humans. So thank you so much, Jaume. And I would just say that Jaume's website is penyavermut.com, and you can also find him on Instagram at Penya Vermut and the poetry mix. So go check him out and get in touch, and also you can find out about more of Jaume's project. So thank you very much, and we hope to chat soon.